Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing this evening? Hope we're doing fine. Well, due to the weather, I can't get out and do any field research at this time. Too much rain, snow, and the high winds. So it makes it a little dangerous to get out there and do some field research. So, that being said, but I will get back out there as soon as I get a break. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I can't find any other right moment to do this. Why not open up the new year, what I'm about to tell you, for 2023. And what I'm going to do is what I did in the previous video. This is something, like I said in the first one, I generally don't do, but considering the circumstances, I figured why not. So, basically what this one is about what I feel is probably the, if not one of the, greatest videos ever done catching a group of Sasquatches, or what I classify them as, hybrid hominids. It was a small group of 4. And the video I'm talking about, it was red eye shine. Now, when we went out to go do this, because what I'm going to do is this, anybody that has seen that video before, there's pieces in it where the microphone's not picking up any audio of what we were discussing and talking, and the excitement that was going on in those minutes. And I mean, they were long minutes. It went on for quite a while, this interaction. And so G was sitting back a little too far where the microphone wasn't picking up the audio on what me and Toby were conversing about. And basically, I'm going to fill the void of what was going on that nobody ever heard, because, like I said, it wasn't picked up on audio. Some was, a lot of it wasn't. So, I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in that void. I'm going to tell you and explain to you exactly what was going on every second by the second. Okay? So, let me start off with this. Now, this is around the same time period as when we had the visitation by the Black Ops, and also a visitation by a UFO. And of course, I explained everything to you in the previous video of what led to what. So, what it did is it escalated for me to take it a little bit further. What we were about to do that night was something at that time period that most researchers would not do. And I must say, I can't blame them. It's a whole different animal when you're doing field research at night. Okay? So, let me get started. Me and G, we discussed this, and we knew what we wanted to do. What we were about to do was go out in the middle of the night, in night field research, and hopefully that we would come across one of these cryptid creatures and see if it is a fact, or is it just a myth that because when they go nocturnal that their eyes glow red. Now, I must say, this hasn't really ever been caught on video the way my video is done, and that is a fact. So let's get started. So me and G, we decided what we wanted to do, and we knew exactly what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. On this excursion, Toby joined us. And there was 3 of us, Toby, Garland, and I. So we headed up to the hill, or what I like to call the hill, the Sierra Nevada mountains. And we went to one of the highest points on that level of the mountains where we were at, between 6,000 and 7,000 feet elevation. We started off at our, what I called my HQ, which I'll explain to you that. And we got our camp set up. We checked our cameras, we double checked all of our equipment, made everything was righteous, and everything was good to go. And after that point, we waited for the sun to drop. We grabbed ourselves a little bit of dinner, and we sat around the campfire, and the dark was upon us. We loaded up our gear up into the vehicle, and we drove to our destination. About that time, it was around 10 o'clock at night. This was between October and November, so it's in the winter. It was very cold that night. Also, there was a very low moon, if a moon at all. In other words, it was pretty frickin' dark that night. Not much to go by. Thank God we had our lights with us, and from time to time we did have to use it so I could see through the dark. We arrived at our destination of where I wanted to start at. We geared up, double checked everything again. Everything's hot to trot, we head out. So a little bit of time goes by, and we're kind of just feeling our way through the dark. Now and then we use our flashlights to get a bearing. Conversation at this point is about none, period. We are in a state of observation and definitely in focus. We know what our mission is. We know what we have to do. Now, we had absolutely no idea at all of what was about to occur. So as we were hiking in, I told G and Toby that I'll take point, and so I went ahead. I knew the trails, and I could pretty much well feel myself in the dark, feel my way through. We came up off this one trail that we were traveling on off and on for a long time. There was another trail that was off to the side of this one trail that we had never seen. I don't know why. Me and G just never noticed it before, but for some reason that night, that one particular night, all of a sudden this trail was there. I hit it with a flashlight. I turned around, I told Toby and G, I says, where the hell this trail come from? I don't remember this at all. I decided I'm going to take point again, I told him, and I said, so just follow close behind me. As I went on to the trail, and I was following it, I'd say probably for a good maybe 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, Toby yelled out at me, "Red eye shine." I see red eye shine. I looked over to my left, which Toby was off to my left on my left flank. And I said, where do you see the red eye shine? He pointed. So me and Toby lit it up with lights. Nothing was there. And Toby said, I swear it, I'm telling you right now, I saw red eye shine. I believed him. Toby's not the type to make up stories as we go along. No, he was absolutely right of what he had saw. I continued forward, being progressive. Then all of a sudden, like the snap of a finger, bam, there they were. We crossed paths with 3 hybrids. There was a 4th one that was way off to our left flank. It was hiding in the thickets. It was an adult male. The 3 that were in front of me and Toby was 2 adults and a young one. That's another 3. When we crossed paths, they froze. We froze. Because that's the thing to do. In a situation like that, the worst thing you could do is start yelling and screaming, go into a panic, and take off running. That's a big no-no, not in a situation like that. They could take you as a threat. So, when they froze as we froze, Toby's looking right at them. I'm looking straight at the young one. And yes, I'm telling you right now, when they turned to look at us, their eyes glowed red. A brilliant red glow. So, that video validified that it's not a myth, and yes, some of them can, when they're nocturnal, eyes glow red. It's kind of like if you were using, say, infrared yourself. It serves as the same principle for them. So, now that we proved that it does exist and it is real, there was more that went on that night. The 2 large males went off to the left. They started on the move, which indicates, you will see in the video, because you can see the red eye shine and this traveling. Garland is doing his damnedest to keep up with everything. Now, mind you, Garland was right behind us, off to my rear, off to my left flank a little bit. Toby was off to my left flank a little bit, and I'm off to their right. So we had a little segregation between us. At that particular time, no conversations were even discussed. And why? Because we were all in frickin' awe of what we are experiencing at that moment. It would have blew your mind, as it did ours. Me as a researcher, I got to stand my ground because that's what I do. That's my job. I want to document all this. Hell, I'm documenting it right now when we were filming it. Something like this has never been filmed in this way, period. Period. As this was going on, the young one squatted down in a low squat position. When he did, I went down the same. I mimicked what he was doing. And then he squatted even lower. At that point, I went pretty much down in a prone position. Me and the young one are looking at each other, and we're probably about 20 to 30 feet apart. Then when the other 2, the adults, took off, and they started moving off to the left, the young one he stood up straight and he followed. Garland fought like hell to try to keep this all on film, and mind you, Garland at that point, of course, he felt all alone, and there was nobody watching his back. Garland was awfully nervous, and he should be, but he stood his ground, because that's how Garland was. No matter what, hell or high water, Garland stood his ground with me, and he was damn good about it. I had his back, he had mine, and that's all we ever used to, that's all we cared about. Then what happened, me and Toby, we veered off and we started moving with them. And from time to time, we'd light them up with light, and then I would go blackout. And when we went blackout, that's when we would catch the red eye glow. Now, even at that point, we're not talking with each other. Everybody is quiet. Everybody's in focus on their job of what we're doing at those moments. The hybrids continued to travel off to our left, and they were going thicker into the woods. The one on the far left of us, the fourth adult, he kept popping up out of the thickets, and he was basically checking the whole situation out. I believe he was more of a sentry or a lookout for the other three. At that point in time, they went behind in some thickets in the pines. At that time, I joined up with Toby. Garland caught up with us, and we were speechless. I'm telling you right now, we didn't have much to say at all. That was a hell of a mental impact on us. You see, the fact of it is, you're out there in the middle of the dark with 4 of these cryptid creatures, and you don't even have a clue or an idea how they're going to interact with you. You don't know. It's a mystery. I was totally amazed in what I was seeing. Then they disappeared into the woods. About that time, we continued to try to seek them again, and we came to the conclusion they're gone. They left the area. Or did they? They might have. Was probably still somewhere in the woods watching us. So like I always say, the Sierra Nevada mountains have eyes, and they watch. That you best believe, that's a fact. When it was all over with, I mean, you know, it was a pretty shaky situation. I mean, it took a while for us to collect ourselves, and then when we did, we still didn't say much to each other. We were pretty quiet. And then finally, I told Toby and G, I says, well, let's backtrack. We'll head back out of here. I got what I needed. I got what I wanted. I found out what I needed to know. We discussed everything on the way out in total excitement. It was like Toby, man, did you see them frickin' eyes just glowing red? G was kind of stifled. He didn't know much what to think of anything. I can kind of say he was just still in a total state of awe of what went down. I told Toby, I said, how many did you see? Toby said, I've seen a couple of them. How many did you see? I said, I've seen the same. After that, we went quiet again. Nothing was said. As we walked out, I went point again. G and Toby kind of stayed behind me, kind of lagged behind me a little bit, and they were in discussion of what had just happened. When I broke trail, there's like a bend, and there's all these thickets, and over in here is like there's a meadow, big timberline, a ridge, and all full of manzanita thickets. As I came around the bend, and I broke trail, going onto the main trail of going towards the vehicle, all of a sudden I stopped because the whole area seemed awfully bright. And I knew, and I thought to myself, there wasn't any moon, if any moon at all, tonight. Why is the sky lit up? And I looked up off to my left. I looked up into the sky, and what I saw blew my mind. What I saw was a huge white orb, like a sphere, about the size of a football field. And it was illuminating nothing but a bright white light, almost blinding. At first I thought to myself, is that the moon? We got no full moon. Bullshit. I looked again, then I really stayed focused, and then I knew. It wasn't no moon. It was a craft. About that time, Toby and G caught up with me. They looked up, and they both said, "What the hell is that?" I looked at them and I said, "Gentlemen, we're looking at a UFO." At that time, we left the trail, went across the mountain road, and we went to the vehicle. As we were unloading our gear in the vehicle, we couldn't take our eyes off this orb. All three of us stood there side by side for a good, I would say 3 to 5 minutes, just watching this giant bright orb. Then all of a sudden the orb started pulsating, and every time it was pulsating, it would pulsate a brilliant bright light. I mean, so bright it would blind the hell out of you. And then it went fast like a strobe light, just bam, 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 and then it just quit, and it went to a low bright light like a neutral light. This orb or sphere, the size of a football field, never left its position. You couldn't hear a sound. It was silent. As I wanted to get the calculations on it of where this craft is, and he was about 1,500 to 2,000 feet altitude, at about a 35 to 40 degree angle from us, which would have been like this. Then Toby grabbed a light, and he looked at me and G and he says, "Watch this." And he lit it up, and you could see the beam from that light in the darkness headed right up towards the sphere, the orb. It didn't take but a few seconds, and then all of a sudden this orb was like it was going crazy. The bright lights started coming back again, but this time it went like bright, and it flashed again even brighter, and a third time even brighter, and the fourth time was you couldn't even see. And then when it mellowed out to neutral again, I could see different types of colored lights within the orb. There is no doubt in my mind at this point in time, it is an ET spacecraft of some sort from some other world. Now, my military background, Toby's military background, we know exactly what we were looking at. And it didn't come from this planet called Earth. Nor do we have anything on this planet that of what we were looking at that night. Then, I remember me and G told Toby, he says, "Hey, don't be playing with that thing, man. It might piss this thing off, whatever it is." About that time, he killed the light, and then all of a sudden, this thing just started going flashing, 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 almost like a strobe light again. And then it just went split second, blink of an eye. It was gone. In reverse, from a set still. That, in aerodynamics, known to modern man, is impossible. Impossible. But yet, there we were. We saw the impossible. We experienced it. Now, that night, I was asked, They said, Danny, do you think it might be true that E.T. and these cryptid creatures have something in common? Maybe that's what it was for. I thought about that moment, and I told them my answer was no. No, I don't believe that that's what was going on. They were there for another reason. That was just pure coincidence. Now, the reason I say that, because the orb, or spacecraft, was not there when we went in. It was not there when we had crossed paths with the hybrids. It was there after the event took place. Now, it could be plausible that when the spacecraft did arrive, that it knew what was going on. That is very plausible. I can't give you a direct answer on that, though. I am not really sure. Who knows what they were really here for? But I did not see, nor did any of us see, any connection between the two at all. That's what happened that night. And on the way home the next day, I'm telling you right now, for a 2.5 hour drive, we never spoke one single word to each other. Not one. Not until days later. There is a certain person that has their own channel, and his name is Bigfoot Tony. I think he was asked to validify the video if this was real, or were we using lasers trying to hoax people. I 100% guarantee you I don't hoax people. That was not a hoax. You could rip that video up, down, shake it and bake it all you want. The fact of the matter is, it is real. What we took and filmed that night is real. It happened exactly how the video was filmed. Now, Tony's got his own channel, and he did this fantastic video on his channel, and it was called Illuminist. You guys really should go check it out, because in that Illuminist video, he has a segment in there on my video we took that night. I've had discussions with Tony. This is real. What is on that video that's glowing the red eye shine, they are real living entities. Period. End of story. That video has been validified again and again. And personally speaking, and I know others have said it, that video is the Patterson film of all red eye shine videos ever taken. Period. And I stand my ground on that, and I back that up, because I know nobody has ever filmed anything like that. There is nothing what I have like that. And it also shows that these cryptid creatures, these hominid hybrids, are real as you and me. So, that's what happened that night. And I hope I filled in the void for you guys. If I were you, revisit the video. Not what I explained to you. Incorporate that when you revisit the video. One thing you won't see is the UFO. The reason is my camera doesn't film at night. There was no way I could film it. There was no, even if I put lighting on it, it was up too high, way out of focus. I couldn't get it in there. I will say this. Me and G went back a week later to the same spot where the orb was. Where the bright light was hitting on the forest, this one particular part of the forest right off the trail. I'm telling you right now, and I know what caused it. When we were there, the trees were green as hell. in that one spot where the light was really hitting on it. The pine trees in that area, they died. They were dead. It was like an extreme heat just fried them. But only in that one spot where that orb was really glowing. Think about that one, if you don't think it was real. Oh, by the way, those trees never recovered from it. So, I hope you like this video. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll do the same. Until another time. I'll see you guys another time. I'll be back out in the field, okay? You guys take care. Bye-bye. Gotta go.